Okay, good afternoon once again. Welcome to the 2018 IPM Achievement Awards. And so we are pleased to have a number of special guests, including our Cal EPA Secretary, Jared Blumenfeld, Jenny Lester-Moffitt from CDFA, Undersecretary. Our Cal EPA Secretary, Jared Blumenfeld, appreciates sharing thoughts and ideas on how to make California a better place and keep on being an environmental leader. So we would like to hear some messages from Mr. Jared Blumenfeld.
Thanks, Mary Lou. Thanks. Integrated pest management. I remember when I first got to the city and county of San Francisco in 2001, we pushed really hard to get this integrated IPM ordinance. And later I became actually the general manager of Rec and Park for the city. And so I know the awardees today, it takes a lot of time and effort, and it's worth it, is what I'm here to tell you. Like, IPM is incredibly close to my heart. We spend a lot of time in this building with the Department of Pesticide Regulation registering toxic pest management techniques, right? That's what pesticides are. California applies half by volume and tonnage of all the pesticides in the United States. And what you're representing here today in this room is a different way of thinking about that problem. So for me, the precautionary principle, which really asks a different question, the risk-based assessment is how much harm can be tolerated by the system, whether that's a river, a person, a child, the environment. The IPM and precautionary approach is this toxic pollutant necessary? And IPM, by looking at a range of alternatives, helps answer that question. And I think we often kind of paint ourselves into a corner when it relates to pesticides that say, we have to use this. If we can't use this, there's nothing else out there. What you're showing is that the alternatives work. And sometimes the practices of how you apply them are different. Sometimes the way that you engage with, certainly when I was at Rec and Park, we had to retrain gardeners to do it differently. It's different work, but it's often a lot more gratifying, especially for the publics that we serve. I think the public gets very nervous when they see at a golf course or a kid's playground a little sign that explains what the nasty pesticide was just applied. When they hear that you can remove a lot of these toxics from especially local environment, they get really engaged in that process. And actually, in my experience, they come up with all kinds of alternatives from around the world that we could be using and doing differently. I remember down into the sewers of San Francisco, which is not I wouldn't recommend it. It was, it was the pre-earthquake, pre-1906 earthquake, they're all brick. And we were using integrated pest management practices. The technician in that case, the company was called Pest. Luis and his team were using all kinds of ways of dealing with rats and cockroaches and other vectors, and they work really, really well. So to me, California is a place of innovation. It's a place where we have very high environmental regulations and standards. We care about this. Our public cares about this. We need to think about how we mainstream integrated pest management. So that next year, this conference should be 10 times the size, and think of all the different applications that we could do around the state. So this is my first month. I was super excited to see this on my calendar because this is the direction that I want to help push. We've got some of the best land-grant universities in the world. Davis is only 18 miles away. UC Irvine, Riverside, Chico, look around the state. We've got an incredible resource of people thinking about how we can do this differently. I'm just proud to be here with the winners today. It's not easy to win these awards, and I'm really proud that you came here to share your experiences, and I look forward to hearing them. So ideas, send to Jenny and myself. We want to keep this going, and as I said, build on it. But integrated pest management, it's how we create healthy systems rather than poisoning the soil and the communities to the threshold that agencies say is safe. That's basically how the pesticide regime works today. Jenny and I are working on another project called Healthy Soils. And that project really looks at how do we use soil to sequester carbon from the atmosphere into the soil and keep it there forever. So even the concept of healthy soil really relates to integrated pest management. You can't have healthy soil and at the same time kill everything living in it. That's called dead soil. So this paradigm is the thing that we need to change, and you're at the cutting edge of that. So thank you. Good luck. Keep doing what you're doing and continue to be ambassadors as you are today in your communities, letting people know what's possible. I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. We are also very proud of the fact that even as California growers and farmers successfully tackle pests, they play a huge role in feeding this country and the world. Jenny Lester Moffitt is the Undersecretary of the California Department of Food and Agriculture and also has a few words about the dynamics of agriculture and pest management in California. Ladies and gentlemen, Jenny Lester Moffitt.
It is really great to be here today. It's great to be here to celebrate the achievements and the accomplishments of two different efforts that are really innovating and leading the way. As Secretary Blumenfeld said, Californians are, and people like you guys are really innovating in practices. Today, and maybe one of the reasons why we don't have members from the legislature as intended is the governor gave the Secretary of State address today, the State of the State address today. And in that State of the State address, he made a really important point about water policy, but I think it actually covers all environmental policies, certainly all challenging policies that we have facing our country and our world. And he said it is not either or, it is yes and. And I think as we think about integrated pest management, that's exactly what we're thinking about. It's not either or, it's not which tools should we use, it's how can we really incorporate and be really integrated in how we manage pests in a way that we're really thinking holistically and in a whole system. I'll be brief because I look forward to hearing from you guys. I look forward to learning more about the work that you guys have done. As a past recipient of the IPM Innovator Award and my family's farm, I know what remarkable work this has gone into all of your partnerships that you have built, both in UC and UC Cooperative Extension at UC Davis and UC Cooperative Extension, and certainly also with the Midpeninsula Regional Open Space District as well. So those partnerships are key, but it's also just being mindful of yes and. How can we really find those solutions where we're bringing in not only all the partners, all the ideas, all the different innovative solutions. So congratulations on your work today, and congratulations on your achievement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now on to the awards. I will introduce both groups one at a time, and then we will watch a short video. Then someone will speak on behalf of each group. After that, we will ask the group and any legislative representative, if they are able to come up and accept the award. So the first IPM Achievement Award is presented to Midpeninsula Regional Open Space District, also known as MidPen. MidPen has been managing open space in the Bay Area for more than 4 decades. Today, MidPen manages a green belt of over 63,000 acres of preserves, mostly in Santa Clara and San Mateo counties. Our award evaluation team was impressed with MidPen's dedication to managing invasive plants while being committed to minimizing pesticide use and risk. MidPen's comprehensive IPM guidance manual serves as a model for each land management agencies throughout the state. Let's watch their video.
The Midpeninsula Regional Open Space District, or MidPen, covers 63,000 acres of 26 distinct natural preserves in the central coast of California. It is surrounded by the San Francisco Bay and the Pacific Ocean, as well as the urban areas of San Francisco, San Jose, and Santa Cruz. The natural preserves provide a welcome relief from the dense, developed areas, providing a space for the public to go hiking, horseback riding, and mountain biking. Through the determined and heartfelt efforts of local conservationists, Midpen was established in 1972, after voters overwhelmingly passed Measure R.
The district's mission is really to acquire the land, to save it, to protect it.
To preserve land and to make it accessible to people. That's why we're here. And it's great to work somewhere that we have a legacy that we leave behind.
The district's mission is to acquire and preserve a regional greenbelt of open space land in perpetuity, protect and restore the natural environment, and provide opportunities for ecologically sensitive public enjoyment and education. Their leadership in environmental protection and open space stewardship is evident in their collaborative approach with many partners, their extensive public outreach that engages diverse communities, and their well-developed integrated pest management plan. In December of 2014, the Midpeninsula Regional Open Space District adopted an integrated pest management program for the tens of thousands of acres of natural preserves. Midpen's adaptive management approach requires the publication of a yearly report wherein their pest management plan is reviewed and revised when necessary. The Integrated Pest Management Program goal is to control pests by consistent implementations of IPM principles, to protect and restore the natural environment, and provide for human safety and enjoyment while visiting and working on district lands. Midpen develops specific pest management strategies and priorities that address each of the 5 categories based on the type of land or facility and the type of pests found at those locations. Buildings should maintain function and protect human users. Ants, roaches, flies, rodents, and other nuisance animals are common pests found in buildings. Preventative measures like sanitation, exclusion, and trapping are used to manage pests. Recreational facilities provide safe and enjoyable human experience in natural settings, such as trails, roads, and parking lots. Common pests here are encroaching vegetation, which are primarily removed with mechanical equipment by staff. Fire management concerns justify the removal of unwanted vegetation by mechanical means, such as mowing and cutting. Plants and animal pests are controlled in agricultural and rangelands specifically to support ag production and grazing. Mulch installations, mowing, spot spraying, and trapping help enhance habitat value for wildlife and plant species. The goal for natural areas is the long-term preservation of natural resources. Management focuses primarily on the control of invasive species, sudden oak death, and invasive animals. Because the natural areas make up most of the district, pest management projects are long-term and may require the help of many contractors, staff, and volunteers. Each year, over 600 volunteers contribute over 20,000 hours preserving and protecting open space lands by participating in a variety of ways, such as educating and inspiring visitors, constructing and maintaining trails, and removing invasive, non-native vegetation. The passion of these volunteers and of the Midpen staff are key to the success of the district. Their energy and dedication is immeasurable, and their efforts are greatly appreciated by all those who experience the beautiful natural preserves of the Open Space District.
At this point, I'd like to invite Cindy Rosler, Midpen biologist, up to the podium to speak on behalf of the organization.
Hi, I'm not actually Cindy, but she asked me to go first. Good afternoon. My name's Ellen Gartside, and I am a volunteer program lead for Midpen. I coordinate and facilitate the volunteer projects for the district, and the district sponsors over 90 volunteer projects a year, and we do a lot of invasive plant removal. We have over 600 volunteers who come out to manually remove invasive plants like French and Spanish broom, yellow and purple star thistle, teasel, and harding grass. Our volunteers are passionate about giving back to the land, and are an important and crucial part of the district's IPM program. Excuse me. Thank you for acknowledging MidPenn for our IPM program and for this opportunity for me to publicly recognize the role our amazing volunteers have as part of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Hi, my name is Cindy Ressler, and I led the team that wrote the original IPM program, Integrated Pest Management for Midpeninsula Regional Open Space District. And that program now is moving along, and you'll get to see Cody later on today. He and Tom are now modifying that program, as you always need to with Integrated Pest Management program. But I was there in the beginning, and I like to say that preparing this IPM stole 5 years of my life. So I'm here to tell you to steal this IPM. So we did something somewhat unique. We applied the IPM principles, which originally were more for agriculture, and even San Francisco started using it more in an urban environment. We took those principles and brought them into the natural environment, over 60,000 acres of natural land, and started to apply them there. So if you know of somebody who works for a park agency or an organization that manages natural lands and needs to apply IPM principles, then steal this IPM. Go to MidPenn's website, openspace.org. Very easy, openspace.org, and search for IPM, and you'll get 3 things. You'll get our IPM guidance manual as we wrote it. How did we apply these principles in natural areas? You'll also get the environmental impact report. How did we figure out what would be the impacts and how to avoid or minimize or mitigate for those impacts? And then finally, the most important thing is actually the annual reports, because as most of you who have worked with IPM know, it's really important to monitor what you're doing, reflect on it, and decide what to do in the next year and the next year, and to share that information with the public. You really build the public's trust by sharing what you're doing. Of course, there is a concern about the use of pesticides. If you share what you are doing, either with pesticides or with non-chemical means, then you will build trust about what you're doing. So steal this IPM and go to our website. But I do want to emphasize that you need to customize whatever you're doing. You can't just pick up our EIR and do it for you. You have to customize your program to your land. Climate change is real. Climate is changing the pests out there. Not only do we have to think about that on our program, but your lands and your pests may be different. So remember to go ahead and customize it. The reason IPM works is because it's actually a really good decision-making process. And this really came home to me when those 5 years, when I was working on preparing this IPM, my teenager asked me for advice on romantic relationships. And I found myself telling him, well, you need to understand your goal in a relationship. And you need to look at different alternatives to developing that relationship. And if there's problems, you need to look for the least toxic alternative to solving those problems. And you have to monitor how things are going. And of course, you need to communicate frequently. So there's my gift to you, my Valentine IPM. But really, the point, I never told him that I was using IPM on my advice with him, but the point is it is a good decision-making process, and you can use it to customize what you're doing and really make sure that you're doing a good job and you're communicating with your public out there. Finally, I do want to thank the California Department of Pesticide Regulation. You are innovators. You are leading in regulations in the nation. And the way I realized that specifically is as a biologist, when I was preparing this IPM, I didn't realize I had been working for this agency for 15 years. We had over 200 buildings that we were managing on these preserves. Buildings like old barns and old ranch houses that would get ants and rodents. Sometimes dusky-footed wood rat, a species of special concern. And that was a pest problem. And we had to figure out our way how to deal with that, often because there were tenants in those buildings who weren't realizing their actions could be affecting the preserves around those buildings. So this decision-making process helped us come up with some really good ideas and communicate with our tenants. So DPR, you know, you're looking at those regulations again about second-generation anticoagulants. They are really important. The other thing about your agency is your website has a lot of good information. The thing I like best, though, is that your people pick up the phone. When those phones ring, they pick them up, they share information, and they patiently explain things. And I feel like that type of attitude towards dealing with these safety issues goes down to the county ag commissioners. I always find them very cooperative in the local weed management areas. So thank you to DPR for having that type of attitude and keeping the residents of California safe. And I mean not only the people, but also the plants and animals and the water and the air. So again, steal this IPM, go to openspace.org, and if you know somebody who is looking for a way to apply IPM methods in parkland and natural areas, we've got some ideas for you. Thank you.
Okay, so at this point, I'd like to invite the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District team, or MidPen, to receive their award and take pictures. There's actually a message from the County Ag Commissioner, Fred Crowder from San Mateo County. Congratulations on Mid-Peninsula Open Space District's achievement and recognition of your pest management philosophy in managing weeds, protecting wildlife, and pest management in general. The DPR IPM Achievement Award is a high honor and an authentication of Mid-Pen's commitment to intelligent pest management. He's very sorry that he couldn't make it today, but he really congratulates your effort. Thank you again. Before our second award, I want to say thank you to everyone who worked on putting together this year's ceremony. This event takes months to plan and a lot of work. So our scientists and staff think about every detail so that we can best honor the award recipients, all the way to presenting the award. So we did have practice for this thing. So from vetting potential awardees, designing the posters and brochures, and coordinating all the people who need to be here today, it takes a team. So a big thank you to Melissa, Sean, Estella, Eric, Lisa, and Joe. So, and anybody who's worked on these awards, please stand up, and we want to give you a round of applause. Joe. Thank you. So the next award goes to a team of scientists that has been working together for the past 14 years. The Soil Fumigant Alternatives and BioSolarization team has dedicated themselves to researching alternatives to agricultural soil fumigants. As you may know, fumigants are very effective at tackling soil pests, but many people are concerned about potential adverse effects on humans. So DPR likes to see alternatives. In fact, full disclosure, DPR awarded this group a grant many years ago. Therefore, it is nice to see them keeping up with the good work. The biosolarization practices promoted by this team are aimed at managing soil pests and pathogens while using fewer synthetic pesticides. Our evaluation team recognized the team's great effort to share their research throughout the state and beyond. Let's watch their video.
Many soil pests are controlled by applying synthetic soil pesticides in California, and they contribute to maintaining high crop yield and quality levels. However, their widespread use in areas where horticultural crops are intensively grown historically has contributed to ground-level ozone formation and retention and other acute and chronic pollution-related threats to human health and environmental safety. Thus, development of non-chemical alternatives became necessary. Such an alternative is soil solarization, which is a simple technique using passive solar heating of moist soil under clear plastic film during the summer months. The solarization process raises the temperature of the soil to levels which are lethal to most pest organisms. Solarization has provided non-chemical soil pest management in many locations where end users cannot or will not use synthetic chemical pesticides. Recognizing this, we began seminal studies on combining organic amendments such as composted animal byproducts with solarization, a process which became known as BioSolarization. Our team has researched and developed the innovative use of organic crop and processing waste materials to combine with solarization, using materials such as cannery tomato pomace, composted municipal green waste, and almond processing residues consisting of hulls and shells. These naturally forming pesticides are produced on a temporary basis and act in much the same way as do synthetic chemical toxicants. In this way, the solarization period in the field may be reduced and the efficiency of inactivating soil pests increased. We have produced numerous outreach activities and publications to train end users, consultants, and scientists in these technologies. We have created and published a module based on the team's biosolarization work for use as a STEM training demonstration for California's K-12 students, and another aimed at college students. In addition to pest management and contributions to worker, rural resident, and food safety, benefits associated with our continuing project include advances in the fields of soil health and fertility, microbial ecology, greenhouse gas reduction, advanced biofuels, and municipal solid waste sustainability.
At this point, I'd like to invite Dr. Helene Dillard, Dean of the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences at UC Davis, up to the podium to speak on behalf of the organization.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here today, and I want to say congratulations to the soil biosolarization team. Some of them I've known for a while, others are fairly new that I just met, some of the students that are involved as well. I'm really happy to be here to congratulate them and also to celebrate the work that's going on. When Jim and I were graduate students, there was a strong emphasis on the pesticide end of things. And so to see it evolve to what it is today, where we're here celebrating some real accomplishments on biosolarization, is really a big deal for me. I wanted to just mention that this success is part of a bigger team than even what's here today. It's really a collaborative, multidisciplinary effort. It included people from the Department of Food Science and Technology, the UC Davis Department of Biological and Agricultural Engineering, our important partnership with UC A&R Cooperative Extension, state regulatory industry groups, lots of other folks who also have participated in some of this work. They worked a lot directly with farmers. A lot of the pictures you saw, those were not on-campus small plot farm things. Those were real farmers out in the real world, which is really validating the work. They wanted to look and see if we could combine soil amendments to make that solarization even stronger. And this is really particularly important when you get out of the Central Valley and into areas closer to where there's fog in the morning, Salinas, and along the coast. You need to give it a little boost to get those temperatures up high enough to kill the pathogens and the pests that are in the soil. But for me, what's even more important is these technologies can be used by anybody. You can be a small farm, you can be a big farm, you can be organic, biodynamic, you can be any size, you can be huge. So it's really nice that this is sort of scale neutral, that anyone can do, and it's a great way to control the pests. This is really a good example, though, also of sustainable science-based decision-making processes that are combining the biological, the cultural, the chemical, the physical tools that we need to identify, manage, and reduce damage from pests. They've done a great job at not only the research, but also the outreach and the communication to others. And that came across in that film. And that's so important, because oftentimes we do research that ends up in a journal and it never sees the light of day in the real world. So to me, this has been extremely important that we've gotten out there. It also really dovetails well with the Soil Health Initiative that Jenny's working on. And so I'm really pleased with that. So again, congratulations to the team. Job well done. We're really happy that you received this award. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to invite the team of the Soil Fumigant Alternatives and BioSolarization team up for their award. And also afterwards, if any members of the team can talk about your work, that'd be great too.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank DPR for this award, and also for all the DPR people that we've worked with in the past. It's been a great pleasure, and I think that we've done some pretty good work as well. When I started working with solarization more than 30 years ago, as Helene said, there really weren't any alternatives to soil fumigants that people could use for broad spectrum control of soil-borne pests. So we started working with this new technique. We developed some of the ways that farmers could actually use it, and today it's being used on thousands of acres of cropland, particularly by organic vegetable growers in the Imperial Valley. And it's used by thousands of California home growers and landscapers, and also ecological restorationists as a non-chemical pest management tool. A watershed moment for us occurred in 2004 when grad student at UC Davis, Megan Marshall, and her advisor, Dr. Jean Vandergunst, became interested in modeling the mechanisms of biosolarization control. And so they called me, we formed a team, and a great partnership blossomed out of that has continued for the last 14 years. Megan and Jean have both moved on to other opportunities, and Dr. Chris Simmons is now, who started with us as a postdoc, I guess in 2011, is now running the UC Davis portion of the program and is doing some great work with biosolarization research and implementation. So I would like to introduce Chris and the rest of the team, and he can talk a little bit about the great advances that they are making. So thank you very much again.
As Jim said, thank you very much. We're very grateful, and it's a great honor to receive this award. For us, it's very exciting to be working in this space and pushing biosolarization forward as a competitive, feasible solution for really all California growers, whether they're small, large, conventional, organic, and not just maximizing the pest control efficacy, but really measuring and maximizing benefits to broader soil health, human health, and environmental sustainability. So it's a privilege for us to be able to work in that space and try to push us forward in terms of agricultural sustainability and risk reduction for people in and around those sites. As mentioned earlier, this has really been a collaborative effort. We've had collaborators that span the UC system, Fresno Pacific University, University College Dublin, the Volcani Institute, and sponsorship by a wide array of supporters as well. And some of those have included the National Science Foundation, the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, the Almond Board of California, the Western Center for Agricultural Health and Safety, and of course, DPR. So again, thank you very, very much.
Okay, so I've missed the opportunity for giving MidPenn an opportunity also to talk from their team. So if anyone would like to come up and talk about your award as well, please come up. I apologize for missing that opportunity.
I'll make this quick. Thank you very much. My name is Cody Cifuentes, and I'm one of the biologists for MidPenn. Cindy gave up, 5 years of her life doing the planning, along with Kristen, who's with Ascent, who did our environmental planning. And I was in charge of implementing that plan. It's 400 pages of fascinating reading. But it's something that we're very proud of. And what's so great about it is that the public has entrusted us with 63,000 acres to manage this land and keep it for our children's children, to be able to come out and see what we can see as this point right now. We have a ton of different endangered species, rare plant species that we need to protect, along with the public that comes out. And without the efforts that Cindy and Ascent and others did on this IPM plan, it really speaks to the community that we have in the Bay Area. It really lets them know, and we really encourage them to help us out to make sure that we have a very robust program that takes into considerations, all the different externalities that people don't think about when working on pests. So I wanted to thanks to DPR for this award, something that means a lot to us. I know our board is very excited about this, and the knowledge that IPM does work, and it's not just about money, but it's also about that safety for the environment and for the humans. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and congratulations again to our awardees. We thank you for all your hard work and dedication in making a better California. So thank you. And thank you to all of you for joining us today. All the awardees, please join Craig, our photographer, to have pictures with you. And then if there are still any refreshments left, you can still enjoy the refreshments back there. But thank you to all of you who came today to congratulate our awardees for our IPM Achievement Awards. Thank you.